Hello everyone, this is Mohan Krishna. Welcome back to the C++ tutorial number 2. In this tutorial, you are going to learn about variables. First, going to these variables, I am just going to give you with an example. I am just typing x. Assume x is equal to an apple. Next, I am saying that Paul eats eggs, means it says x is equal to apple, so Paul eats apple. Similarly, like that, you can assume anything to another number and you can do that variable in some calculation. So first, uh, I want to declare something, variable name. Variable is nothing but you can store something in it, and you can use that variable for some arithmetic or logical expressions, and you can perform the calculations. So, and just before declaring the name of the variable, first you have to declare the type of that variable. So you can mention, you can store in a variable a character or something. You can store a number, the number may be sometimes an integer or sometimes it's a float. Sometimes, for example, you can assume that I am naming my variable as x. You can assume that x is equal to some name, x is equal to Mohan. Sometimes you can assume x is equal to 10. Sometimes you can assume x is equal to 10.1.1. So the data type is nothing but the type of that thing that you are going to store in that variable. First example, I have given x is equal to apple. Here the apple, x is the variable and apple is that the characters. So when you are trying to store that characters into the x, you have to include the data name as char. Next, I have give the data type that given is char to that characters. Next, when you are trying to include x is equal to 10, you are trying to store the value of 10 in the x. So you have to include the data type as int. So next example, I have given x is equal to 10.1.1.1. Here the 10.1.1.1 is a float value, means it's like an decimal. If the number is consists of decimal, uh, the data types come under float. So now in this example, I am including the data type as float, or it's better I'll include as int x is equal to 10. I am storing x is equal to 10 directly without giving an input using my keyboard in this program. Now I want to print the value of x, so I will use cout with an insertion followed by an insertion operator. Now just see what happened. I want to print the value of x. Now I am opening the inverted commas. So I want to value of x, I want to print the value of x. I am putting in the inverted commas and I am just ending with an semicolon, and I will run the program. See the what the happens. The output what you are expected is to be 10, but here the value, the print came as x. So what you have to remember is that when you're trying to print out the variable, you have to remove this inverted commas, and you have to simply enter x and you have to print. See what happens. Now I am running the program. Here the value is printed as 10. So to make much more clearer, I'm just typing the expected output is, I'm closing here inverted commas, and next I have to insertion operator, and the expected output is what you are expecting. Your output is 10. So next you have to put that variable here x, and see run the program. the expected output is 10. So thing is that while you are writing a statement, you have to include in an inverted commas. Next, so remember, while you are printing anything, the statement should be included in an inverted commas. Next, when you are trying to print any variable, you have to remove that inverted commas. The only differences between the variable and the statement is differentiated by this only by this inverted commas. If you included that variable in this inverted commas, the compiler won't think it is as an variable, so it will print as if you have typed in that inverted commas. So if you remove that inverted commas and you have typed that variable name, it will think, the compiler think that you have entered the variable, and it will think that it have to print the variable name. So in this tutorial you have learned much more about the variables and how to print that variables. Thank you for listening.